Moon in Taurus, what a wonderful place to have the moon. I'm going to talk again today a little bit about Western astrology and just a little sprinkle of the East I'm going to put in there when we discuss the Taurus moon. I did the Aries moon last, and of course I'll be doing the Gemini moon next. So if you have a Gemini moon, make sure to subscribe, or actually I'm going to do all of the zodiac moon signs because the moon is really important. So when we talk about a Taurus, there is always a cat in one of my videos, I know. Today is Edgar. When we're talking about the moon, we're talking about the emotional nature of the person in the West. And as I stated in my last video, in the East, the moon also rules the mind and how we think, even though over here in the West, we just typically use Mercury for how we think and how we communicate. But the moon over in the East is of really extreme importance. And it's really important over here in the West too. So the sign Taurus is a fixed earth sign, as you guys know. The reason why this is such a fantastic placement to have the moon for you guys who have it is because the moon is emotional by nature, right? Like I said, it switches signs every couple days. It's not consistent, and those of us who are on the moodier side, you guys know what a full moon makes us feel like, what a new moon makes us feel like. We can feel it a couple days before. So when you deal with an earth sign like Taurus, you're dealing with stability. The moon it gives an emotional stability. And as we all know, the more stable we are emotionally, the better off we are. We're not as impulsive. We're not as quick to anger. We're not as quick to cry, whatever. And of course, we look at the entire chart. This person could be very, very emotional with this moon in Taurus, but this gives great stability to this person, to the emotional nature. Now, Taurus rules the second house in astrology. So the second house, what is the second house about? I've done videos on this before. It's actually, I like the second house because that's where our money is, and that's where what we value is. So when we see benefics in the second house, or a benefic is transiting the second house, like Jupiter, Venus, that kind of stuff, it usually means there's financial stability, whether that's through your own talents, because the second house can be what you value, just innately what you value. It can be through gifts, stocks, inherited. It can be anything that has to do with finances and stability. So the second house is also in the East, our face. So if somebody has benefics there, a lot of times you'll see really attractive people. Of course, there's other aspects that make people attractive. That's not the only thing. But the second house rules the face, whereas the first house, that's how we come across, whatever. But it also rules our head. The first house is ruled by Aries, so that's the head. The second house is the face. And here's another fun fact about the second house. It is not only the words we speak, so people with a strong second house are going to be very articulate, good with words, communicators, but also it's going to rule what kind of food and drink we take in. So if there's some benefics there, that can be great. They can be healthy. There can also, Venus and Neptune together can kind of have a little propensity towards sugar and things like that. But Venus is a benefic, but it just depends on what's in that house. So when you think about the Taurian vibe, the moon in Taurus, this person is going to be very sensual. They're into the earth stuff. And sometimes when you're into astrology, you forget that, hey, we're on planet Earth. I always said to be a good astrologer, you got to be kind of grounded here and a little bit out there, like the planet Uranus, and combine the two. Because if you're too out there, you're not going to get anything done. And that's just the way it is. We're on Earth, and when in Rome, we do what the Romans do. We do earthy type things, right? Which is another thing I've noticed about Earth moon signs in general. And this is not everybody, but I have noticed this about a lot of people. And I know people that have Taurus moons, Virgo moons, Capricorn moons, is they tend to like to garden. I see them out and they're out there and they're always planting and growing, and because gardening is very like getting down to earth. It's very grounding. It's roots us. So that is something that those people a lot of times have. They have a green thumb. They have a lot of just really nice talent in that area, the moon in Taurus. So all in all, well, I guess I got to talk about a little bit of the negative, right? There's always a negative to every positive. It is a fixed sign, and the fixed signs are stubborn. You know, that's Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, Taurus. They can be like, no, I'm not moving, I'm not moving, I'm not moving. Well, we all got to move. Sometimes we got to shake it up. We got to change things up. That's why Uranus is in our lives, right? We got to shake things up. So a lot of times there can be like a stubbornness. And actually, I've even seen this with Taurus Sun sometimes, where they just don't want to change. Even if they're miserable, they're just not gonna change. It's like, nope, this is the way it is and I'm not moving. So that's something that the Taurus moon needs to guard out for. But overall, this moon sign, in my opinion, creates people that can be very, very practical. They take their time, they're not impulsive. And some people might be like, okay, well that bores me. But the truth is we need that on this planet. So let's say you are somebody with, and I always say in every video, if you're a guy and I'm looking at the kind of girl, you know, you're attracted to, whatever, I look at Venus moon. If you're a girl and I'm looking at the guy, I look at Mars and Sun. But if you're the kind of person that is very, you know, free and just, you know, fiery or whatever, and I get angry quick or, you know, whatever, just not a good earth sign like Taurus is good for you, because that creates that kind of balance and stability. And sometimes people with a lot of fire, a lot of water, get bored with earth signs. They just do. But we need earth signs. Earth signs are good. They bring us back down to earth. Taurus can overindulge with all the earthly pleasures that we have here. But that's okay, because as long as they're aware that that might be one of their weaknesses, typically they can kind of, you know, work on that and fix it, because we do have free will in astrology. The point of astrology is understanding transits so we can kind of plan our life. Dashas in the East, big time help with planning life. But also psychologically here in the West, we look at our strengths, we look at our weaknesses, and then we can kind of be like, okay, this is one of my weaknesses. This is what I'm going to work on. This is one of my strengths. This is what I'm going to put most of my energy into. And so that's it. Next will be Gemini moon. Again, you guys, my cards are on sale on my website, joannagerardpsychic.com. They are at a discount because I am rebranding. So I am shifting gears with my business. And so that website I have a couple websites, but my psychic astrology website, that particular website will only be up for a few more months. So if you want to buy those, you can go ahead and do that on my website before they are no longer available on that website, because I am working on some other things, because I do not have a Taurus moon and I like to switch things up. All right. Thanks so much, you guys, for watching. Have a fantastic weekend and happy Easter. Bye.